Hello。
嗨，家里人谁来啦？
因为我和我老婆而已，我和我老婆而已。
那孩子怎么样啦？
孩子就这样吧，都健健康康的。
This is a typical scam call. No surprises. A person pretending to be a friend from Malaysia and asking for help relocating to Singapore. But what's surprising was it started from this, a local number. This is what a scam call used to look like. Then it evolved, like a local number but calling from overseas. And nowadays, more like this, without the +65 prefix, like a call from within Singapore. Over the years, we've learned to be suspicious of overseas numbers. But if the number looks like it's a local call from Singapore, how do you tell if it's a scam call? And where is it really coming from? A few months ago, Christina Heng received what seemed like an ordinary call.
The person mentioned that he's Mr. Lee from a very well-known school. The number that he called me is a local contact number. He said, Christina, you run a renovation company. Can I make an appointment for you to come to my school and meet up with the principal? Because we need a design to renovate our library. At the same time, he also asked me to purchase some mattress for the school. Okay, so he actually showed me this mattress. There's a brand. So I actually even forward this to my friend to ask my friend whether do they have this mattress. My friend said don't have. So I called back Mr. Lee and said, sorry, my friend don't have the brand that you want. Do you want other brand? He said no. This is the protocol of a school. All schools must use the same brand. So he said that we also have a supplier. Can you help me to call the supplier to order on behalf of us? So I told him, why can't he do it himself? He actually told me that he cannot get the supplier himself because the principal has an argument with the supplier. So he need me to help him order.
At this stage, what convinced you that this was a legitimate inquiry for business?
I'm not suspicious because first thing is a local number. For local number, I will pick up because of my line of job.
Do you have a number for the supplier?
Yeah.
Right, so it's not a Singapore number. It's stated clearly here that it is Malaysia.
Yes.
The supplier is based in Malaysia.
Yes.
Okay. So when you managed to contact the supplier, what did he say to you?
Okay, the supplier said they have stock and they can also deliver.
The supplier who reached out to her on WhatsApp pressured Christina into paying the full amount upfront. To sweeten the deal, they offered a discounted bulk price and a commission of $5,000.
I really need the money in order for me to pay for my insurance premium, my HDB loan, all this. For the past 3 months, I do not have any project on hand. And this is the amount that I think is enough to pay off.
I get it. I mean, that sense of like, where's the next paycheck going to come from? How much did you transfer to him?
I transfer to him all the money that I have in my joint account with my husband, which is 7,000. I called Mr. Lee to ask him to make a full payment to me, and Mr. Lee agreed. And immediately he said he tell the principal and get the account to do the transfer.
Minutes later, Christina received this screenshot, a sum of 73,500 Singapore dollars for the 150 mattresses that she supposedly ordered for the school.
But in actual fact, the money does not come in. Yeah.
From the whole incident, besides the monetary loss, how would you say the incident has affected you?
It actually affected me a lot. Like, emotionally, I felt like I'm very stupid. Yeah, like, why I'm so careless and like so easily believe.
Did you make a police report?
Yes, I made a police report and they told me that they are still doing an investigation, but the only thing that they can only allow to let me know is they are not able to retrieve back the money.
Have you tried contacting Mr. Lee?
No, I didn't. So the profile picture has changed.
It looks like a company right
Yeah,
now.
it's a company that called this Trillion Credit Solution.
Okay, you know what? I am going to try to dial this number and let's see what sort of response we are actually going to get. Do you mind reading the number out to me?
Okay. 9652 65.
The Singtel mobile customer is not available. Please try again later.
It sounded like the phone was switched off at the moment or not in use. Christina was drawn into the scam largely because it started with this number, a number that's clearly a Singapore number. I wanted to know how common scam calls from local numbers have become, so I hit the streets.
The frequency of scam calls are definitely increasing. Yes, it's actually becoming really irritating.
It's just like Singaporean numbers or like phone numbers.
They will start from 65 and maybe like 8 something or 9 something. Like something that you wouldn't expect to be a scam call.
Scam call numbers from just the 8 or starting with the 8 or the 9 as usual. Yeah.
It's more likely they'll pick up from a local number compared to an overseas number. You're more likely to know someone from Singapore than, let's say, from overseas.
Because usually the scam calls last time would be from like those international numbers. But nowadays there's a lot of scam calls from local numbers as well, unfortunately.
Recently there's a NTUC. They say that I have a policy expired soon. I must renew, otherwise you will forbidden or something like that. I know that I don't have NTUC lah. That's why I know this is a scam.
If I'm not mistaken, it's a bank, and once there was like a police or something.
And then they told me that there might be some potential jobs for me and asked me to look out for some WhatsApp messages.
In 2024, the median loss per scam case was just under 1,400 Singapore dollars. In just the first 6 months of 2025, the typical scam victim lost more than the median loss recorded across all of 2024. But the Singapore Police Force does not track how much of this is due to scam calls from local numbers. So here's the thing. Getting a prepaid or postpaid SIM card in Singapore is legal and quick, but it is not anonymous. Subscribers must present official identification to register the SIM card, which means the card is technically traceable. So why can't we trace the scammers? Earlier, I met Christina, who lost all $7,000 of her savings to a scam that started with a Singapore number. I'm meeting the man who is in charge of connecting the dots when it comes to all things scam.
If you look at the past 1 to 2 years, we see local numbers being used to scam Singaporeans. Actually, it has started from overseas phone numbers. Then it has actually progressed to +65 because we have sent out a lot of police advisories. So public has become more discerning. And so scammers have actually adapted and shifted tactics to shift to local numbers. They make phone calls from overseas. The number will still appear as a local number without the +65. Would you pick up a local phone number if the call is made to you?
So you mean like if a Singapore number comes in? I won't decline it right away. I would be thinking like, oh, could it be someone I know? So I'm more likely to trust a local number, I suppose.
And that's precisely what the scammers are looking at because they know that local numbers have a higher possibility of reaching out to potential victims.
So what you're saying is that in order for them to call me using a Singapore number, they need a Singapore SIM card.
They will be able to get supplies of SIM cards because they can get from people who subscribe and sell the SIM cards to them.
So what happens to these local SIM cards after the SIM card mules buy them?
These cards will actually be sent overseas where they will reach the scam syndicates that's actually operating in Southeast Asia.
Okay, but let me make this very clear. The scammers' calls are coming from overseas, but it looks as if they are in Singapore when they call me.
They use technology to mask the number, to actually use it as a local calls to call out to people, which actually helps the scammers to disguise their tracks, because that means that they are able to operate outside Singapore but still make calls as though as they're making a local call.
Okay, how do they end up overseas, the SIM cards?
They will have their means to transport overseas. Yeah, so due to operation reasons, I'm not able to disclose how the transportation part is done.
I mean, SIM cards are fairly easy to hide. I mean, I could put a stack of SIM cards in my bag, for example, or my hand carry. So is it by air or by land or by ship?
It's possible to be done via these three avenues.
A SIM card is something that is very easy to carry out of the country.
Yes, we see a lot of youths on board signing up for SIM cards and selling away SIM cards.
And what kind of ages are we talking
We
about?
are looking at between 15 to 17.
Wow. So the scammers are turning to youths to buy SIM cards.
Yes.
Why is that so?
Some youths are also more impressionable. And of course, the scammers will always use monetary gains like fast cash. If you sell SIM cards, I give you a certain sum of money. And the youths are actually tempted to actually sell the SIM cards to scammers.
What happens if we don't stop the illegal selling of SIM cards?
SIM cards is actually the critical part that is a scam enabler. If we don't restrict the supply of SIM card or we don't curb it and allow people to abuse it, that means that the scam syndicate has a lot of infinite supply of SIM cards to use to reach out to local victims.
In just the past year, Naresh has counselled 10 young people involved as SIM card mules. How is it that the scammers can get these youths to buy SIM cards?
They're able to convince them to buy the SIM cards because of fast cash. They're able to give them about $10 to $15 per SIM card, and that would amount to about like $100 if they are able to buy 10 SIM cards.
For a child at that age, $100 is a lot of money.
Indeed, indeed. Some of them know that this is a crime. Some of them have misinformation that they're just giving away their identity and it hurts nobody. For those who knowingly break the law, I think the fast cash is what's luring them into it in the first place.
From the cases that you've handled, what is the most number of SIM cards that the youths have been able to buy?
They're able to buy like 40, 50 in a month.
Where are the youths going to buy these SIM cards from?
Many of the willing sellers are smaller retail shops, and they are able to mix and match the telcos so that they can stretch the number of SIM cards one person can buy. The worrying thing is that some of them don't stop at being a SIM card mule. They go on to become a recruiter, especially the ones who are more relational and has buying power, charisma to say. And they are able to go and recruit their peers to do this SIM card mule job.
What does a recruiter stand to gain?
So if a SIM card mule makes $10 per SIM card, then that very SIM card can be sold up to $300 to $400.
The recruiter makes $300 when the SIM card mule makes $10.
In fact, one of my youth who was a recruiter was making $1,000 a week. So if they get caught, they might be subjected to probation, or they might go into a juvenile institution. That could be a boys' home or RTC, and they may be fined as well. As compared to adults, I would say it's lighter. At the same time, that's really how the scammers are luring these youths into the whole crime.
Between April and June 2025, police exposed a cross-border scam operation that was abusing Singapore's mobile phone networks. The losses from these scam cases exceeded 3.1 million Singapore dollars. One of the countries this syndicate was operating out of is Malaysia, and I'm heading there to understand operationally how our SIM cards are being used. I'm on my way to meet a cybersecurity expert who has spent the last 7 years educating consumers about scams, which means he is on top of the scammers' modus operandi. He's asked me to meet him here at this residential area in Putrajaya.
Hi, Diana.
Hello. He says scam syndicates usually operate out of residential neighborhoods like this.
Okay, Diana, this is what we call SIM box and SIM cards from various service providers in different countries. And this SIM box, very popular amongst of the cyber criminal activity, where they use this to communicate with their targeted victims. The technology is the same technology being used in customer services call center and other business related to communication between the businesses and the consumer. Okay, for this SIM box, you can slot in 4 SIM cards.
Let me check that one out. Oh, it is quite small.
Yeah, you can buy maybe like hundreds, and you can times by 4. It means that 400 SIM cards can be slot into the SIM box and turned into the SIM farm. SIM farm is one of the present modus operandi for the scammer, not just in Malaysia, but in Cambodia.
I have in my mind a giant place where there are, hundreds and thousands of SIM boxes like this one?
So 100 of the SIM box can turn my house into a SIM farm.
How does the SIM box make sense for the scammers?
They use this so that they can automate their call center operations. SIM box is connected to a computer where one single click, they can simply communicate with the victims. So can you imagine, instead of using the phones, now they can have the device of SIM box and turn that into SIM farm, where they don't need any thousands of smartphones anymore.
So what you're saying is that the SIM box and the SIM farms actually help the scammers to have some kind of efficiency?
Yes, absolutely. The SIM box can randomly run the number to call any random victims, and it is switching time by time.
Can the scam caller actually choose the SIM cards that they are calling with? Can they choose the call numbers, for example?
They can choose, but I believe they have softwares and system for them to randomly call victims, and random number, it is switching time by time. Because if they keep static on the numbers, normally enforcement can detect the numbers and go find them. So by having this SIM farm, whenever the number being blocked or being tracked by the enforcement, they can automatically switch numbers.
I received a scam call recently. The number looked exactly like a Singapore number.
So they use the GSM gateway.
Working together with the SIM box, the GSM gateway is a hardware that connects with local telco networks. Remember that the scammer's goal is to make calls from overseas appear like Singapore numbers to their victims? Well, the GSM gateway taps into local telcos as long as they are located close enough to the country, effectively removing the +65 from incoming overseas calls on our cell phones. It also avoids roaming charges for the scammers.
The scammer always need a SIM card for them to operate the SIM box. SIM card plays a very important role in scam activity. So endless SIM card supplies required for the scam syndicates for them to keep scamming people around.
Since 2014, Singapore has limited individuals to 3 prepaid SIM cards to curb scam calls. Prepaid SIMs are paid for in advance and don't require a long-term contract, while postpaid SIMs are billed monthly and tied to an account. 10 years later, a similar rule was applied to postpaid SIMs, though the limits are higher. But here's what we found out. For prepaid SIM cards, the limit of 3 is across all telcos. But for postpaid SIM cards, the rules aren't so clear. The IMDA website says the limit is 10 per subscriber, but it's not stated whether it's 10 per telco or 10 across all telcos. I'm meeting with Hema Ramani from IMDA, the agency that oversees SIM card rules in Singapore.
Hi.
So I'm just going to show you something that I found on your website. It says that for Singaporeans, each subscriber is entitled to buy 10 postpaid cards.
That's right.
Is that across telcos or per telco?
This is per telco.
There's 13 telcos at the moment. If it's 10 SIM cards per subscriber, does it mean that potentially I could get as many as 130 SIM cards?
Yes, you can. There's certainly room to bring this down. This is something that we are actively reviewing based on data that we see, and we're looking to actually reduce this significantly on a per user basis across all telcos.
By reducing the number of SIM cards that each subscriber can buy, the problem won't go away, but it could become a smaller problem.
One of the things that we look at is really data. Pattern data coming from the telcos to see whether there's suspicious SIM card registration activities. Based on data from the telcos, based on what law enforcement agencies see on the ground, these are then calibrated to see how to tighten, whether to tighten, to make sure that it's actually effective.
Hello。
嗨，家里人谁来啦？
因为我老婆而已。
那孩子怎么样啦？
孩子就这样吧，都静静。
Remember the scam call I received? It all started with a convincing local number. He claimed to be someone I knew. Quickly moved the conversation to WhatsApp, where he began asking me for money. But when he realized that I wasn't falling for the scam, he deleted our chat history. Now, I tried calling back the number, but just like Christina's case, the number appears to be no longer in use. Tracing the scammers is difficult because they operate behind SIM card mules. Once they were exposed, they quickly discard the numbers. Singapore's laws allow for only 3 prepaid SIM cards. As for postpaid SIM cards, during my interview with IMDA, it says it now plans to tighten regulations. Hopefully, that will be one step forward against the scammers.